Have you ever felt like someone was using you without you realizing it? Like your choices weren't really your own? This happens all the time. And the worst part? Most people only realize it when it's too late. The truth is, if you don't understand the game of manipulation, you're just a piece in it. But today I'm going to show you something that could change everything. Machiavellian psychology. A strategy used by great leaders to identify and disarm manipulators. So pay close attention, because after today, no one will be able to deceive you anymore. Oh, and before we get started, make sure the notification bell is on. That way, you won't miss any content like this. Niccolò Machiavelli was a 15th century Italian thinker and writer, best known for his book, The Prince, where he discussed how rulers should act to maintain power. In his work, Machiavelli spoke about the need to be realistic and strategic in politics, suggesting that leaders should be willing to make difficult decisions, often unconventional ones, to ensure the stability and success of their government. Although many associate Machiavelli with the idea that any action is justifiable to achieve a goal, he never explicitly said, "The end justifies the means." However, he did argue that leaders needed to understand the harsh realities of politics, and that, in extreme situations, using cunning and manipulation to preserve power and the well-being of their state was acceptable. Machiavelli believed that to maintain control and protect their interests, individuals must understand the motivations of those around them and know how to use that information to their advantage. He suggested that to avoid being manipulated, one must be astute, stay alert to the moves of those trying to influence their decisions, and act wisely without being ruled by emotions. For example, he saw emotional manipulation as one of the most powerful tools that manipulators use to control others. To Machiavelli, remaining calm and rational under pressure was essential for making more conscious and strategic decisions. Therefore, Machiavelli's teachings can be extremely useful when the goal is to protect oneself from manipulation. By understanding how manipulators operate and refusing to get caught up in emotional or tactical games, you can take control of the situation and never be deceived again. Have you ever noticed how some people always know exactly what to say to make you feel guilty, afraid, or pressured into making a decision? That doesn't happen by chance. Manipulators study your emotions and use them against you. Machiavelli understood that emotions are humanity's greatest weakness. He said that anyone who wants to influence others must first learn how they think and feel. This means that manipulators observe your weak spots and use them to control you. For example, if you fear rejection, a manipulator might make you feel excluded so that you give in to what they want. If you seek approval, they might pretend to be your friend just to gain your trust and later use it to influence you. So, how do you protect yourself? Machiavelli teaches us that the first step to avoiding manipulation is knowing yourself. You need to understand your emotional weaknesses so that no one can exploit them. Additionally, maintaining control over your emotions is essential. If someone pressures you to make a quick decision, stop and ask yourself, does this choice actually make sense, or am I just being caught up in the moment? Machiavelli also said that not everyone who smiles at you is your friend. Some people pretend to care about your well-being, but in reality, they're just using you for their own benefit. That's why you should always observe people's actions, not just their words. Those who truly care about you don't need to manipulate you to get what they want. If you learn to control your emotions and recognize manipulation patterns, no one will ever be able to use you without you realizing it. And what about you? Have you ever noticed someone trying to manipulate you without realizing it at the time? What happened? Share your experience in the comments. Your story might open a lot of people's eyes. Manipulators win because they make you act with emotion instead of reason. They know how to provoke you, pressure you, and put you in situations where you lose control. But Machiavelli teaches us that true power lies in coldness and self-control. So how can you train your mind to never fall for these tricks again? First, learn to recognize emotional triggers. Everyone has weak spots. It could be the fear of disappointing someone, the need to please, or even anger when challenged. Machiavelli said that those who control their emotions control their destiny. If you know what situations throw you off balance, it becomes much easier to avoid reacting on impulse. Never respond immediately to provocation or pressure. When someone tries to manipulate you, pause. Say something like, "I'll think about it and get back to you." This takes the power away from the manipulator because they rely on an immediate emotional reaction to control you. As Machiavelli said, patience and strategy always defeat desperation. Practice the neutral face. Manipulators watch your expressions to see if they're getting to you. If you show surprise, fear, or insecurity, they'll notice and push even harder. Train yourself to keep a calm, neutral expression without revealing your emotions. This disarms any manipulation attempt. Ask yourself, who really benefits from this decision? Machiavelli said that people always act out of self-interest. If someone is trying to convince you of something, ask yourself, do they truly have my best interests at heart, or are they just using me for their own benefit? When you start thinking more analytically, manipulation loses its power. If you apply these strategies daily, no one will ever control you without you realizing it. The power will be yours. If this content has opened your mind in any way, imagine the impact it could have on others. Your like helps this video reach those who really need to learn this. So if it makes sense to you, go ahead and leave a like. Machiavelli understood a fundamental principle of human psychology. Those who talk too much give themselves away first, and those who give themselves away first become vulnerable. Think about it. How many times have you trusted someone too quickly, shared your plans or feelings, and later realized that person wasn't who they seemed to be? Machiavelli said that true intelligence lies in observing before acting. If you want to avoid manipulation and stay in control, you need to let others reveal themselves first. To do this in practice, speak less and observe more. People love talking about themselves. If you ask the right questions and listen carefully, you'll quickly pick up on their true intentions. Another key strategy is testing before trusting. Before sharing anything important, drop small pieces of information and watch how the person reacts. Do they respect your privacy or spread what you said? Machiavelli warns us that loyalty is not always what it seems. It's also crucial to avoid exposing your weaknesses too soon. If a manipulator knows where to hit you, they will use it against you. That's why you should always analyze a person before revealing your vulnerabilities. Machiavelli knew that real power lies in strategic silence. This doesn't mean being cold or distant. It means being smart about what, when, and to whom you reveal information. If you apply this rule in your daily life, you'll notice that people show you who they really are before you even need to reveal anything about yourself. And that gives you a massive advantage. Machiavelli teaches us that power lies in controlling the situation, and this applies perfectly when dealing with manipulators at work or in relationships. They always try to control the narrative and put you at a disadvantage, but there are strategic ways to dismantle them without them even realizing it. In the workplace, a manipulator may try to turn you against others, spread rumors, or even overload you with tasks that aren't yours. The Machiavellian strategy to handle this is simple. Never react impulsively. Instead, ask direct questions and expose the situation rationally. If someone tells you that a colleague spoke badly about you, ask in front of them, "Interesting, can we clarify this together?" This forces the manipulator to expose themselves and back down. In relationships, a manipulator uses guilt, emotional blackmail, and distortion of facts to control you. The key to dismantling them is to stay calm and turn the game around. When they try to make you feel guilty for something you didn't do, respond calmly. I understand that you feel this way, but that doesn't change the facts. This response prevents them from continuing to distort reality and puts you in control. Machiavelli said that those who master their emotions control the game. The manipulator wants you to react emotionally because that weakens you. But when you stay firm, ask strategic questions, and don't get carried away by provocations, they lose their power over you. Whether at work or in relationships, the secret is always the same: observe, question, and never show vulnerability prematurely. This way, you can disarm any manipulator without direct confrontation. If this content is helping you see things differently, imagine how much more you can learn in the upcoming videos. If you want to keep growing and never fall for manipulations, again, subscribe to the channel and join me in learning how to be a strategist in your personal life. Machiavelli understood a fundamental principle of human psychology. Those who talk too much give themselves away first, and those who give themselves away first become vulnerable. Think about it. How many times have you trusted someone too quickly, shared your plans or feelings, and later realized that person wasn't who they seemed to be? Machiavelli said that true intelligence lies in observing before acting. If you want to avoid manipulation and stay in control, you need to let others reveal themselves first. To do this in practice, speak less and observe more. People love talking about themselves. If you ask the right questions and listen carefully, you'll quickly pick up on their true intentions. Another key strategy is testing before trusting. Before sharing anything important, drop small pieces of information and watch how the person reacts. Do they respect your privacy or spread what you said? Machiavelli warns us that loyalty is not always what it seems. It's also crucial to avoid exposing your weaknesses too soon. If a manipulator knows where to hit you, they will use it against you. That's why you should always analyze a person before revealing your vulnerabilities. Machiavelli knew that real power lies in strategic silence. This doesn't mean being cold or distant. It means being smart about what, when, and to whom you reveal information. If you apply this rule in your daily life, you'll notice that people show you who they really are before you even need to reveal anything about yourself. And that gives you a massive advantage. Machiavelli teaches us that words are a tool of power. Those who speak without thinking give away information for free and become easy targets for manipulation. That's why a calculated speech is essential to always stay one step ahead. Whether at work, in relationships, or in any situation involving influence. The first rule is simple. Don't say everything you think. Instead of speaking on impulse, choose your words strategically. Before answering an important question, pause for a moment, think it through, and only then respond. That small delay shows you're in control of your speech and prevents your emotions from giving you away. Another effective technique is to answer with questions. If someone tries to pressure you or put you on the spot, don't react immediately. Turn the question back. For example, if a colleague asks you something that could put you in a difficult position, instead of answering straight away, say, "What exactly are you trying to get at?" This forces the other person to reveal more before you expose yourself. Machiavelli also believed in showing strength without having to say it directly. A calculated speech communicates confidence without arrogance. When it's time to state your opinion, use short and direct sentences without unnecessary justifications. For instance, instead of saying, "I think we could try it this way, but I'm not sure if it's right," say, "This is the best strategy. Let's assess the results." This shows firmness and makes it harder for others to shake your position. Finally, silence is one of the most powerful tools of a calculated speaker. People who talk too much lose credibility, while those who speak at the right moment are seen as wiser and more influential. Machiavelli understood that those who control their words control the situation. Use this to your advantage, and you'll never be manipulated again. To control a situation, you need to make others feel like they need you more than you need them. That's what makes a manipulator feel uncomfortable, and at the same time, puts you in control. Once you understand this principle, you can flip the script and make any manipulator work to please you. The first tactic is to make the manipulator realize that you have something they want. This doesn't mean being selfish, but rather understanding that everyone has weaknesses and interests. At work, for example, you might be someone essential, or in your personal life, you might have a skill the other person values. Machiavelli said that in order to exercise power, you must create the perception that you are the key to someone's success. When the manipulator feels you have something to offer, they start acting in ways to gain your approval and favor. Another technique is to avoid being predictable. Manipulators love people who are easy to read because it allows them to shape their reactions. But if you act in unpredictable ways, it makes them nervous. When someone tries to manipulate you, keep a bit of mystery around your intentions and responses. This discomforts the manipulator, making them more eager to please you just to avoid losing control. Machiavelli also teaches us that calculated kindness and respect can make others feel they owe you something. It's not about being submissive, but about being courteous while showing confidence. For example, if someone is trying to manipulate you, instead of confronting them aggressively, simply remain polite and firm. This will make them realize that in order to keep interacting with you, they need to be more careful and work to stay in your good graces. Additionally, use reciprocity to your advantage. If the manipulator tries to please you, don't give your gratitude away immediately. Instead, let them see that you notice their actions, but that it hasn't had the effect they hoped for just yet. This makes them feel the need to keep trying in order to win your approval. By doing this, you create an environment where the manipulator feels the pressure to earn your favor, while you maintain control of the situation. When you follow Machiavellian strategy and don't give yourself away too easily, you make the other person feel indebted to you, and that makes you impossible to manipulate. Machiavelli understood that in the game of power, not everyone plays fair. Dealing with people who try to use you for their own interests is one of the most common and most challenging situations. But the good news is that with a Machiavellian mindset, you can take the reins and stop it from happening. The first thing to do is identify that person's intentions. Machiavelli said, you must understand the other person's game before getting involved. If someone constantly asks you for favors or only shows up when they need something, but disappears when you need help, that's a clear sign they may be trying to use you. The key here is to observe carefully and not be fooled by apparent kindness. Manipulation begins the moment you fail to realize you're being exploited. Once you know you're dealing with someone like this, the next step is to stop being so available. People who try to use you usually count on your willingness to help and your tendency to give in. To change that, start being more selective. Machiavelli teaches that to maintain control, you must show that your resources, whether time, energy, or money, are valuable and not to be wasted. Instead of responding immediately to their requests, pause, assess the situation, and only offer help when it's truly in your interest. This forces the person to reconsider their behavior and realize you're not someone who can be easily manipulated. Another crucial strategy is to set clear and firm boundaries. Don't be afraid to say no when necessary. Machiavelli said that to hold on to power, you must be firm and never allow others to use you as a tool. If someone tries to take advantage of you, be clear about your limits and what you're willing to do. Manipulation only happens when the other person feels they can cross your boundaries without consequences. When you lay down clear rules, the person trying to use you starts to realize their tactics won't work so easily anymore. Additionally, Machiavelli advised strategic manipulation. In other words, if you notice that this person might be useful at some point but is currently trying to exploit you, turn the situation to your advantage. Don't be fooled, but don't discard them entirely either. Find a way to balance what you need from them with what you're willing to give in return. The secret is making them feel that if they want something from you, they must also give something in return. Dealing with someone who tries to use you isn't easy, but with Machiavellian tactics, you can flip the game. By understanding their intentions, enforcing strong boundaries, and acting strategically, you protect yourself from manipulation and take control of the situation. Now that you know these strategies, think about all the situations where you were manipulated without even realizing it. How many times has someone used your emotions against you? How many times have you felt like you lost control without understanding how it happened? Machiavelli understood that true power doesn't lie in force but in the mind. Those who master their emotions and understand the game of manipulation are never turned into puppets. From now on, you have the tools to identify manipulators and dismantle their tactics before they even notice. Now tell me, have you identified someone around you who uses these tactics against you? Leave a comment below. And if this content made you see the world in a different way, subscribe to the channel for more strategies on power and emotional intelligence.